Another issue we haven't touched about Andrew Tate on this show, and I know everybody now will have heard of who he is. Up until a few weeks ago, he was a sensation on social media for young people and young males in particular. You've written about this in The Telegraph recently. We will not go into the court case that's going on in Romania and the very serious allegations that are made against him. But he does actually make some important points that young males are encouraged not to behave in the way that young males always have done.
I think that's the problem, because 95% of what Andrew Tate says is, I think, brash, deeply misogynistic. You know, he uses words like hoe, you know, he just spews these words out like confetti. But I think there is 5% of what he says that may be onto something. And I think the tragedy is, and the reason that people like Tate, these kind of sort of douchebaggy type men who are making a career out of being brash and rude and unpleasant and not projecting the right kind of values to young men, in my opinion, is because there are many things that we're not even vaguely allowed to talk about now. I mean, even the issue of whether there are biological sex differences between men and women, if that is taboo, then how are we to have a conversation about what role young men can have in society? And I think that there's this real gulf in discussion. And of course, when there's the gulf, opportunists and grifters and charlatans will come in to fill it.
You know, young white males are now one of the groups in society that are doing least well.
Yeah.
So there is a real issue here.
There is a real issue here. And if we're often told that feminism is about gender equality, I think if that is truly the case, then feminists need to have a bit more to say about this stuff, because quite frankly, anyone even mentioning these issues is often liable to be dismissed as a sort of, a misogynist or a sort of men's rights activist or something.
But the fact that Tate got such a big following, despite the fact, amongst the good stuff that he did say, there was some pretty offensive stuff.
Yeah, I'd say the lion's share of what he said was pretty bad.
So why did he build up such a big following?
Well, I mean, this is the problem. I think there's clearly a crisis in masculinity and a crisis in how young men view themselves and society views them. And I think that, I also think just not everyone who followed him will have necessarily agreed with everything. I mean, I think there was a certain amount of irreverent humour.
And shock value.
You know, he'll say things like, people ask me, why do you have a green Bugatti? I said to them, where's your Bugatti? You know, there's some of this stuff is kind of irreverent. It doesn't necessarily mean that you follow him as a kind of prophet or idol if you happen to follow him.
OK, but a lot did.
But a lot did, and also a lot of people paid $50 a month to access his weird self-help scheme.